Italian actors playing East Indians, snake-loving peeping Tom grandmas, and a completely psychotic Pat Morita, all from the Oscar-winning director of Rocky.
The fuck is this?
Hey! Hello! Hello there, Internet. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and however else you wish to self-identify, to another episode of The Fuck Is This?
Yay!
Yay! This is our fourth, if we decide to release this in chronological order. I'm Kaz Lesgard, of course, and this is my co-host, Jameson Rafter.
Hello, everyone.
Hello! How's it going, Jameson? How was your week, dude?
This week was mainly quiet. We've reached the almost end of the business year for Mike's studio, so a lot of people have started taking time off for the holidays. Mm-hmm. Very kind of Bailey's in the coffee kind of environment at work.
That's good. I feel like productivity would go up if Bailey's in the coffee was just kind of like an all-around thing.
Mm-hmm. And the day ends in like a fist fight or a shouting match.
Oh wow! I like your office.
Well, the game development can get there could be a lot of big egos thrown around there. There's a lot of
you don't say.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I had a pretty interesting week. It was very, very full of activities and whatnot.
Tell me about it.
Not only did I see Childish Gambino this week, I also saw Tenacious D.
No way!
Yeah.
Wow.
That
Dong Lover and the Pick of Destiny.
Yeah, it wasn't a... I didn't see a Tenacious D concert. I saw them live at the Rio, and they were showing that...
that animated thing?
Post-apocalypto that Jack Black drew and then barely animated. It was essentially like slides. We got there early enough, we sat in the second row, and I was inches away from Jack Black. I took a creeper photo of like him watching the movie, and but my friend Steven ended up with a much better story because during the Q&A portion of it, he put his hand up and he essentially had the balls to just go, "I don't have a question. I just wanted to say how much I love you guys. I am not worthy." And he got Jack Black to look him directly
with that piercing.
with that piercing
the
gaze.
Jack Black with a crooked eyebrow.
Look him dead in the eye, and he said, "I see you, Steven." And it was amazing.
And then he fainted.
And he texted me today, and he said, "Remember when Tenacious D said my name?" I'm like, "Yes, Steven, I remember." Yeah. It was.
It's nice getting little like moments like that with a celebrity.
It was pretty neat.
The closest I ever got to an experience like that was when I went to a book signing of John Cleese's.
That would have been cool.
It was awesome. And so my sister went up there, and she was just like nervous and starstruck and everything.
Yeah.
And he said, "Who should I make this out to?" And she said,
"It's a decent Cleese."
"Thank you."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Maddie." "Maddie? Madison's fine." "Well, is it Maddie or Madison?" "Maddie's fine." "Stark raving Madison." Like, John Cleese zinged my sister. It was awesome.
Delightful zing. Well, today's movie I picked based on another movie that I was able to see earlier this week. Jameson, have you had an opportunity to see Creed 2 yet?
I have not. I'm impressed that they managed to make the cornball story of Rocky IV into this very compelling drama.
Did you see the first Creed?
I have not, actually.
Oh, man, Creed is so goddamn good. And that guy went on to do Black Panther, so he's an amazing director.
I was like very late to the party with all the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
And then about 2 years ago, I just binge watched them all on Netflix. And I was entertained. I was impressed. The first three are a very compelling trilogy. I think that those are fine movies. And then they just go bonkers.
I'd argue it starts going bonkers around Rocky 3. That's Mr. T.
That is Mr. T.
Mr. T, and he fights Hulk Hogan at one point.
That's true. It was all about the story of Rocky and Apollo Creed, who were once rivals, now becoming friends and training partners or what have you.
There's that amazing slow-mo of them on the beach in the short shorts and grabbing each other, and you just want them to kiss. Creed is so goddamn good. Creed was my favorite movie of 2015.
So
I watch it a ton. I was very excited for this one. Not as good. Not as good as the first one because it's a different director other than Ryan Coogler, so it doesn't quite have the energy that I thought he brought to it. But you know who's amazing in that movie?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan continues to be amazing. Sylvester Stallone continues to prove that's like the one role that he knows how to do extremely well. Dolph Lundgren is fucking great in it.
Is he now?
He is. And it's interesting that you point out is like, oh, Rocky IV was just such a cartoon of a movie, and now they're taking that exact plot and they're doing it deadly serious.
Yeah.
And amazingly enough, it totally works.
Really?
Like, it really does. It's
Wonderful.
interesting seeing the trajectory of this character,
well,
Ivan
I'm gonna
Drago, and seeing
I'm going to have to watch Rocky IV and then Creed 2 back to back and just see the tonal shift. It would be like watching Batman and Robin and then, like, The Dark Knight.
Right. Well, I wanted to pick a movie that sort of tangentially connected into the Rocky universe, and I found a way. It's probably not the way you might be expecting. Today's movie is the 1999 action thriller, I want to say.
I want to
say like somewhat kind of like an action comedy, like little hints of like drama in there. Today's movie is Desert Heat.
Desert Heat.
Yes, starring, of course, the man who we all naturally think of when we think of the Rocky franchise, the one and only Jean Claude Van Damme.
Wait, hang on a second.
Jean Claude Van Damme.
Where was he in the Rocky series?
Never to be seen. Never to be seen. But today's movie
I see.
is Desert Heat, or if you are in the UK, it was released under the name Inferno.
Okay.
It was originally called Coyote Inferno, which
that sounds cool.
I think is the best title out of all of them.
That's amazing. That sounds like a Street Fighter move.
It does. And how appropriate that Van Damme is in this one then.
Yeah, wonderful.
So the reason that this movie somewhat tangentially connects to, I'm using that word correctly, right? Tangentially?
We'll probably look it up.
We'll have to look it up and edit that part out, or not. I'm learning to own the dumb mistakes that I make on this shit. So the reason that I picked this movie and its connection to the Rocky franchise is that it is directed by a man named Danny Mulroon. And the interesting thing about Danny Mulroon is that there is no Danny Mulroon. Danny Mulroon is a pseudonym for John Avildsen, who is the Academy Award-winning director of the original Rocky. And to a lesser extent, Rocky V.
I see. He did the Alan Smythe thing, but he wanted to pen his own pseudonym?
Alan Smythe got retired. Yes, this movie is from the director of Rocky and Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay, so like a lot of like seminal classics.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And this was the last film he ever directed.
Why is that?
Directed in 1999, and he died in 2016. So either this movie caused him to retire from filmmaking altogether, or he just decided he had had enough and wanted to, live with his family or whatever.
This could be like an exclamation point on an amazing career, but he didn't include his name on it.
He didn't include his name on it.
So this like forced him into retirement,
apparently,
like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen did with Sean Connery.
Yes, and the director of that. The director of that movie has never made another movie.
Oh.
Now, apparently, he had some conflicts with Van Damme. He shot one version of the movie. Van Damme didn't like it. He got his own people to edit it, because Van Damme's also a producer on this. And Avildsen did not like it, and he took his name off of it.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your personal experience with Jean-Claude?
Well, I've never met the guy. I don't know much about him. He can do the splits, and he did that flash kick Guile always does in the Street Fighter movie.
Yes.
I heard that he kind of came to his senses when he did GCVD,
yeah.
which I thought was very heartfelt.
You have just mentioned the only two Jean-Claude Van Damme movies I have ever watched.
JCVD
and Street Fighter, yeah.
I saw what was that one that he did with Dennis Rodman? Double
Team.
Double Team. That's the one where
God.
Yeah.
So this movie, it came out in 1999, and it was one of the first of his movies to go straight to DVD. So this was right.
Now he thrives.
Yes, which is where he only lives.
Oh, I do. I have seen one other JCVD movie. I saw the remake of Kickboxer.
Oh, that's right.
They
did do that.
That's full of like all these like UFC fighters.
Yeah.
And, like
How was that?
It was bad.
Yeah, I imagine so.
George St. Pierre is like a drunk doorman in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So in addition to Van Damme, this movie has two other beloved icons of note. Avildsen was able to rope in Mr. Miyagi himself.
Oh no.
Kat Morita.
Oh.
Kat Morita is in this.
Oh.
And also, this movie has Danny Trejo.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
More of a role than he had in Reach Me?
Far more than a role than
Okay,
he had in
all
Reach
right.
Me. Interestingly enough, not playing the villain.
Ah.
Yeah, playing okay, he's got like a really interesting role in this. We're gonna have a conversation about the role that Danny Trejo plays in this, because it kind of confused me for the first go through of the movie that I was watching it, and then
it's not like Danny Trejo Machete. It's Danny Trejo and Spy Kids Machete.
Well, you'll have to see. You'll have to see it for yourself. All right. We're gonna slap this in right here. Do you want to mention the box art? There's nothing.
No, there's
too
really
terribly.
not a whole lot, but I may as well. So it's Jean Claude Van Damme riding a motorcycle. Underneath the main title says "Left for Dead," burning for revenge. And with the orange sunset-looking sepia tone in the background, you know what it reminds me of? The intro to the TV show Renegade, starring Lorenzo Lamas.
Can't say I ever saw that.
I'll send you the YouTube link.
All right, cool.
It's a pretty badass title. Like,
All right.
framed for a murder he never committed and murdered his wife. Now he seeks revenge. He's a renegade. And then it cuts to the theme song.
He was a cop and good at his job, but he committed the ultimate sin and testified against other cops gone bad. Cops that tried to kill him, but got the woman he loved instead. Framed for murder, now he prowls the Badlands, an outlaw hunting outlaws, a bounty hunter, a renegade.
Anyways, that's what it reminds
That's
me.
some good shit, right?
Yeah, my mind is wandering to so many better things than this movie.
You haven't even seen it yet.
Not yet.
Oh, this movie is deeply entertaining.
All right, bring me back down to earth.
All right,
Desert Heat.
we're gonna dive right into Desert Heat, and we will see you after this wonderful incidental music that we are putting in right here.
Now.
And we're back.
Hello, everyone. We're back.
Oh man, God.
Oof.
What'd you think of that, Jameson?
Of Desert Heat?
Heat.
There's a lot to think about in that movie.
Yes, indeed. So,
yeah.
what I didn't mention before we started, this movie is actually an incredibly loose remake of Akira Kurosawa's classic film Yojimbo. Yojimbo is about a wandering samurai who comes to a small town and
clears it out of all the bad guys.
Essentially pits two rival gangs against each other, earning the respect and admiration of the townsfolk along the way. Yeah. And
that does happen in this movie.
That is technically the plot of this movie as well. It just goes about it in an extremely different way.
Convoluted way.
I haven't seen Yojimbo. I'm really bad on my classic Japanese cinema.
Yeah.
The only Kurosawa movie I've seen is Seven Samurai. You can see the screenwriter for this saying, trying to make this be like his version of The Magnificent Seven, which of course is a remake of
Seven
Samurai. This movie was written by a guy named Tom O'Rourke, and it is the only movie he has ever written. He's never written a movie before this, never written a movie, but his IMDb credit 1. This movie is the only thing he has done, which makes me think Tom O'Rourke may or may not also be a pseudonym as well. So this movie starts off with Jean Claude as Eddie Lomax. It's the same thing, that Schwarzenegger did in all of his movies, where you have like this hulking beefcake of a man with a very noticeable accent who goes around so like, "Hello, my name is John Smith." It's like, I'm not going to even attempt to do a Belgian accent. It's such a specific one. How would you do a Jean-Claude accent? I'm going to tell you.
I'm going to kick his ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is going to go up the river.
It's disturbing how much I know the dialogue of Street Fighter.
It was a big part of our childhoods and then adult lives.
It was amazing. I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking about that whole Bison speech where he's all like, "The day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life."
It was
but for me, it was Tuesday. I'm all like, why do I know the dialogue to Street Fighter so well?
Mm-hmm.
I should not know this. I'm getting off track here.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But Long Division, forget it.
Eddie Lomax rides his motorcycle, an Indian motorcycle into the middle of an unspecified desert.
Native American motorcycle.
Oh, I can say Indian because it's going to come up
It'll come
bunch.
All right.
In this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yes, he rides his motorcycle into like the middle of this like Badlands desert.
Right.
Until it like runs out of gas or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he just decides that this is going to be as good a place as any to die, or to just drink,
or to just get drunk. Well, he can't die yet for a very. We're gonna get into this opening scene because this opening scene is so confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just gonna paint the broad strokes of the plot of this movie a little bit more. So Eddie has come to this desert for two reasons. He wants to find his old army buddy, Johnny Sixtoes, who's played by Danny Trejo.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to give him a gift of an Indian motorcycle. For some reason, I guess he misses his friend or whatnot, and he just wants to bestow a very expensive gift on him.
That's something that you give to a friend.
We don't know where he was before this movie took place. We don't know where he got the motorcycle from, but he's here. He wants to meet up with Johnny. He sent him a postcard. He has a motorcycle for him, and he wants to die because he was a veteran. The killing is weighing down on him.
He's got some PTSD. He spends his days just in a drunken stupor,
and he wants to die. And he seems to want Johnny's blessing. He wants Johnny for him to be okay with dying, and he wants him to do it in sort of a, I guess, ritualistic way.
Yeah, it's never really clear.
No, the Johnny Sixtoes character is very confusing, but we're gonna get into the specifics of that in a second. But as he's in the desert, he's drunk and he's firing off gunshots, which draws the ire of one of the local gangs in town. There's two gangs in town because, of course, Yojimbo and everything like that. I have to look it up. The Hogans.
The Hogans are the sort of cowboy-looking guys.
Yeah,
right?
the other one, and then the
Heathens.
The Heathens. The Hogans and the Heathens.
The Heathens are like the Hells Angels.
They're like the bikers. Yeah. It's the rednecks and the bikers essentially is what they are. So yeah, the three Hogan brothers, Matt, the main leader, insane scenery chewing one, who's played by an actor named Shark Fralick.
Shark.
His name is Shark Fralick. He does
SHARK.
like Shark. Yeah, his name
awesome.
He goes by Shark Fralick. Who's also done.
Van Damme, that's the kind of name you should have had for this movie.
Not much of an actor. Tons of stunts. So he's a stuntman turned actor who somehow got the lead villain role in this. Then we got Jesse, who's the middle brother, and there's not too much to say about him. And then we got the youngest brother, Petey.
Yeah,
little Petey.
He's a little pacifist kind of guy.
Yeah, played by the director's son, whose name is also John Avildsen. Yeah, as if he's all like, I'm going to take my name off this movie. No one needs to know I'm doing that. Your son is in it, and he has the same name as you.
Be in the movie.
He has the same name as you. You're not covering your tracks good enough. Yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
So yes,
draws the attention of the
by fire. Yeah, we see these guys pull up in their truck and they're all like, "Hey, you were like literally shooting at us and
in the desert randomly because you're drunk and disorderly."
Yeah, they have a good point. They are the villains, but they have a decent reason to be mad at him.
Yeah.
But they beat him and they leave him for dead and they steal Johnny's motorcycle. And then they leave it up to little Petey to shoot him. And of course, little Petey can't quite find it in him. So he just shoots him in the side and they just leave him to die. And
for the vultures, I guess.
So let's circle back a bit. Let's talk about this opening scene. Because right after this happens, Johnny Sixtoes finds him, and he carries him back to his shack, and he performs surgery on him. He takes the bullet out. We'll talk about that. Yeah. Where he sews him up and everything like that. But it's made needlessly confusing by the fact that the first time we see Johnny is maybe like 3 minutes into this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Van Damme, he drives the motorcycle into the desert and runs out of gas. He starts drinking. He flops over in the desert sand, and then it pulls back to reveal Johnny is sitting there with his legs crossed, and he says, "Look, I'll play you the dialogue of what he says because it's terrifically confusing." Here we go.
I want to tell you about the craziest white man I ever met. We go way back, Eddie and me. Met in the Army. Hadn't heard from him in a while before I got his postcard. Never been to visit before. Postcard said you were bringing me a surprise. Is that it? Yeah. I appreciate it, Eddie. I really do. Always love that fight. It's already broke on. Hey, it's an old Indian just like me. It's not the end of the world. What are you gonna do? Kill yourself? That's what I'm here for, Johnny.
Because he starts off with saying, like, let me tell you the story about, like, the craziest white man I ever met. And then, almost within the same sentence, he starts talking to Eddie. So it's like he's talking to the audience, but then he's talking to Eddie. All of this is super confusing. And if it's meant to be... So he's not there.
Yeah,
so this opening scene, Johnny isn't there. He's a figment of Eddie's imagination.
Some kind of hallucination, whatever. It was very unclear to me at first whether or not like Johnny was actually dead or not, and he was just seeing him like as a mirage or as a hallucination.
Yeah.
But then
and it's not any clearer the second time watching the movie either.
Yeah, because the second time that we see him, you think to yourself, okay, so Johnny is like an ethereal character. The next time we see him, he's hauling Jean Claude Van Damme over his shoulder, fireman style.
And you thought the same thing I thought. It's all like, okay, so is the ghost of Johnny now carrying him and providing? No, because Johnny's totally alive.
Yeah,
Johnny's still alive, but just for this one scene, he's not, and it's the introductory scene of the character.
Yeah, and it's established that he wasn't even there. He was his imaginary friend, and then no, he's actually real.
And so, but what's so weird about it is that everything Johnny says is pure exposition. He's like, he's all like, your postcard didn't say when you were coming to see me. What are you doing here, Eddie? And Eddie's
I sent out a smoke signal just to look for you.
I'm tired of living, Johnny. It's like, this is the setup of this character. Was there no other way that they could show that on film? We had to have a dream sequence?
They had to make it so complicated, whereas like it could have been established by like a phone call.
Yeah.
Or like them meeting up somewhere at like at a cafe.
Well,
or
how
something.
about just this? He says like, it's all like, oh, your postcard didn't say where it came. Start the movie off with Eddie writing the postcard and then have like dialogue going. It's all like, hey, Johnny, coming to see you soon. I have a gift for you. That's it. We didn't need Ghost Trejo. As much fun as it is to see Ghost Trejo.
Yeah. Also, they're in the middle of the fucking desert, this massive like California Badlands or something, and he finds him like unconscious.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, everyone seems to be able to find each other in the desert really easily.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like a problem at all.
Like huge, wide open spaces, but they all just kind of take like the same route across the massive flatlands.
So since we're talking about Johnny Sixtoes, let's get into a question both of us had. So he takes Eddie back to his shack.
It's a shack. It's like
held together by scotch tape.
It's 3 walls and a roof and not a fourth wall.
In the windiest part of the desert. I don't know how that thing stays up. But so he starts,
Just to go back to that for a second, like, as he's trying to perform surgery on him, like, a coyote pops his head in there.
A coyote, I guess it's like this, like, spirit that, looks over Eddie over the course of the movie. It's, badly established. So, so Johnny starts performing surgery on Eddie. He takes the bullet out and everything like that. And that's when he starts doing chanting.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it here because I'm a white man and I'm not going to, do an impression of what.
But then again, Danny Trejo is a Mexican gentleman and he performed the native
Now,
chant.
here's the thing. The first time I saw this movie, I was kind of sitting there, mouth agape, because I'm like, did they hire Danny Trejo to play a Native American? And he took, because and then there's like coyotes everywhere, and he's like talking to like the spirit coyote, and he's talking, and he refers to himself as an Indian.
Yeah.
When he gets when he sees the motorcycle, when he's still a ghost and everything like that, it's like, oh, it's an old Indian like me. And I'm all like, damn, did they just hire a Mexican actor to play an Indian character? And this was what I thought all throughout my first watching of this movie. Then, before I got a chance to see you, I did look it up. There is such a thing as Mexican Indians.
Oh, of course.
So, I can't say, because they don't specify, right? They don't specify who Johnny Sixtoes is as a character. They don't specify, what his background is, what tribe he comes from.
Yeah, he could be a native indigenous Mexican.
He absolutely could. I don't know anything about that particular culture. I can't say for any assurance that he's... But from my untrained eye, it didn't look like he was playing a Mexican Indian character.
And the chanting that he was doing was convincingly enough to be
It seemed
Native American.
very unspecified Indian chanting. It was,
it was confusing to say the least.
You know what? I'll just play it for you. Here, this is the chanting.
You be the
judge. Right here, you be the judge, exactly. See, there you go. It just kind of... Again, I'm not going to copy it.
No.
But I will let you know what the movie does. And if one of
you decide.
Yeah, if one of
let us know in the comments.
If one of our 3 listeners happens to have some Mexican Indian heritage and can tell us that's like an actual thing or whatnot, then but
moving on, let's talk about the people in the town.
Let's talk about the people in the town, sure. Okay, so Eddie gets patched up, and Johnny sort of like paints the picture. He says, yeah, there's these 2 gangs, and they kind of
run this like sleepy town that has like maybe 15 people living in it.
This is what I love, is that there are these 2 huge gangs vying for control over a town of what looks like 15 people.
Yeah.
It is the smallest town.
The weakest turf war, right? Like
it really is.
Only gets tourists looking for like UFO
There's
sightings.
4 places in town. There's the general store. There's the one restaurant.
The one restaurant.
There's the motel.
And
another place.
I think.
And the Bombay Cafe.
Oh yeah.
Oh god. We gotta talk about this. Okay, we're gonna get to the Bombay Cafe.
Right. Well, let's talk about some of the colorful characters that we have in this small town.
Yes.
There's Rhonda, who is like sort of the main server, or at least who runs the counter at this restaurant.
She's the love interest for Van Damme.
Like I think they have like maybe one scene she like immediately has the hots for him.
Oh yeah. They do that thing where he wanders into the restaurant. They make goo eyes at each other, and by the end of a 3-minute conversation, they're introducing themselves. They're all like, "I'm Eddie Lomax. What's your name?"
She goes, "Oh, I'm Rhonda Lennox. Oh, I mean,
yeah. That's some brilliant fucking writing.
That is a pickup line that I haven't tried.
It's like something you'd see in a Little Rascals short.
Yeah, for sure. There's Dottie, who is played by Jamie Presley. She's sort of like
playing the Jamie Presley type.
She's playing essentially her character from Everybody.
We don't need to go over every character.
Okay.
We definitely gotta mention.
I mean, you sure? Because there's a lot of.
God, we almost do have to mention literally every character.
I would say like this movie kind of is carried by the strength of the actors and their overacting.
This movie, if it was just Jean Claude Van Damme versus these 2 gangs, it would be passable. It would be something that would be fun enough to watch. But this movie is
supporting characters
so much more entertaining by the supporting characters of this town.
Yeah.
And you know what? I take it back. We're going to go over each one individually.
In just little details.
All right. There's the couple that own the hotel who...
not much to say about the husband, but the wife.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Snake grandma.
She is this deeply religious, yet really sassy and somewhat lecherous woman who is into snakes.
Super into snakes, super into Jesus, loves peeping.
Yeah.
she's just, oh my god. Like, okay, the first time we ever see them is when
the redneck gang.
They're
doing a shakedown,
shaking them down for money, and she's just
she
like,
calls them like sinners and everything.
Oh, you're all sinners, and they take her last $50, and she's like, that's for the Reverend, whom we never meet.
Yeah, there is no Reverend.
There is no Reverend of this town. It's for, yeah. And then she takes.
And in her second scene, she's dancing with a
fucking boa constrictor.
Yeah, so let's be honest, it's a fucking boa constrictor. She's
a snake that is not native to the deserts of almost Mexico, I guess.
And she's like spinning around, like, oh, when the saints come marching.
Which is not a hymn, by the way. If she's deeply religious, like, get her to learn like an actual church song. Yeah, but there's Snake Grandma, who is amazing and also is a bit of a perv, because later on Eddie rescues these two buxom, vivacious blondes from one of the rival gangs. They all go back to the motel. They check into one room, he checks into the other room.
And then they say, oh, we just knock on his door. We want to thank you. You're welcome. No, we really want to thank you.
And they fuck. Extremely graphically.
Pretty graphically.
With Snake Grandma watching from the window.
Sipping her Mickey of, like, Fireball whiskey from the
Sipping her whiskey from a straw.
From a straw,
complete with empty bottle sound effects.
Yeah.
And then she just curls up right outside the window.
Passes out,
and he walks by and he puts a blanket over
Like, this sort of thing
her.
happens all the time. Not freaked out that there's, like, the person who rented him the room.
God, that was the moment where I knew I was watching something special.
Yeah.
That was the moment where peeping Snake Grandma just starts, and she's got like a huge shit-eating grin on her face the entire time, and she's like, she says, he's bringing joy to everyone.
Oh, is he?
Oh my god.
He's bringing joy to
It's a miracle that he managed to bang these two broads.
Because that's the thing about Eddie Lomax, is that he walks into town and
he's a walking male power fantasy.
No one does not have a reaction to him. All the bad guys instantly want to kill him. All the women in the town instantly want to fuck him. All of like the non-bad male guys, they all want to be his best buddy. They all want to be his friend.
Let's talk about like his two-man crew that he has.
Oh my god!
So Eli, first of all, who ran the general store, but
Eli Hamilton.
Yeah, he ran the general store, but he was like held.
Amazing.
He was held hostage by his nephews, who took over the store for him. Jean Claude Van Damme killed them, like kind of on sight for no real reason other than they were rude to him. So Eli, he's an octogenarian. He's a very old man. Who needs the assistance of his oxygen tank at all times.
So the day I watched this, earlier in the day, I was watching reruns of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And this guy is Bill Irwin is his name.
He looked familiar. Yeah. He's the old man that Jerry was like kind of...
He steals his records from.
Yeah.
I watched that episode literally earlier today, and I was watching it, I'm all like, it's the same guy.
The same dude.
Playing the exact same fucking character.
Kind of like a loud, old, cantankerous
he's
man.
like an old prospector from like time. I'm going to play him just a snippet of the dialogue from Eli, because, God, I love this guy.
My name's Eli Hamilton. About 2 months ago, when I took Yale, Lester and Leon come down here supposedly to help me run the store. The bastards run the store. Hell, they took over. Well, don't just sit there and bring me to the tank. They chained me to that chair back there. Told everybody I was in the hospital. No visitors allowed.
He's smoking, and he's taking a hit on his oxygen tank, and then he's smoking. And God, this guy's amazing.
So he supplies Jean Claude Van Damme with his weapons. That's his. That's his role in the team, I guess.
He does.
Yeah.
But did you notice this weird thing that Jean Claude Van Damme kept doing? Okay, this goes back to when he's chilling at Johnny Six Toes, and so Johnny hands him this sawed-off shotgun. And he's all like, "Here, take this." And Eddie says, "I already have a gun, and I'm going to go get it back." You know what would help with that?
The gun.
A fucking
that you're getting.
sawed-off shotgun.
Mhm.
And he's all like, no, he just wants this gun. He wants this 45. No real specific reason.
Yeah.
He just wants that gun.
And
then later on...
He's using different guns.
Yeah,
Like.
and then later on, Eli shows him this arsenal of other weaponry,
Mhm.
and he's all like, I got all this over here, and you think like, oh, okay, cool, this is where he's gonna get his arsenal of things, and all he takes is binoculars.
Yeah.
Which he uses in one scene, but yeah, there's a weird thing where people keep offering him guns and he doesn't take them.
The other member of his two-man crew is Mr. Miyagi himself.
Noriyuki Pat Morita,
Oh.
playing probably the dirtiest role I've ever seen him.
Yeah,
in.
you always imagine him to be sort of like a very gentlemanly figure.
He's
if not like somewhat like, mischievous, but
If you-
not outright.
If you grew up watching The Karate Kid
Mhm.
and fallen in love with Mr. Miyagi
Mhm.
and his sage wisdom, did you ever think you would ever watch a movie where he says this line?
You know, I bet he gets lots of pussy.
I bet.
Mr. Miyagi doesn't
You
talk
dog!
you dirty dog! From the same director as The
Mhm.
Karate Kid,
Yeah.
too. So he must have had, I bet Pat Morita had a ton of fun working
Probably.
on this movie. So Pat Morita plays Mr. Early, Jubal Early,
Mhm.
who's this meek little Japanese man.
Yeah, he sits at Rhonda's restaurant every day waiting for his beloved wife to come home.
Birdie.
Birdie, who
Who
has been gone for 3 years
has
or
been,
something.
well, yeah.
But he's
they-
faithfully waiting. But
They say she's been gone for 3 years, and the
Mhm.
way they say it, it kind of implies that his wife has been dead,
Mhm.
and he's still waiting for it, and it kind of
Yeah.
like paints as like, oh, that's like very sad and everything
Mhm.
like that.
as the movie goes on, you realize this guy is kind of gleefully psychotic.
Oh my god, this guy's okay. So he
Mhm.
introduces himself to Eddie as like a local handyman.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie has just killed the 2 nephews, and he's all like, I'm in need of a handyman.
AKA a fixer.
Now, in any other situation, you see like this cute old man come up and say like, oh, I'm the best handyman in town. I
I'll
can
help
do
you
whatever
fix
job
your
like,
staircase
yeah.
railing. You need a mailbox built. Like, I'm your guy.
And then he's all like, oh yeah, no, I totally got a job for you, person I've just met. Here, come over here and everything like that. I just killed these 2 guys. You see these 2 guys? I said these
Yeah.
2 guys.
Dump them, lose them.
Get rid of the bodies and everything like that. In any other situation, the guy would be all like, oh, God, don't kill me, please, everything like that. Pat Morita jumps at the opportunity to dispose of these 2 bodies.
Yeah, he gives him like a once-over. He's like, oh, yeah, I can do that.
Barely gives him a once-over. He just walks in and is all like, kill those guys,
Yeah.
huh? Cool.
And-
All right, yeah.
And his method of dumping the bodies is just to wrap them in saran wrap
Yeah.
and then take them to like the local quarry and dump them off the truck into the pit. And that's it.
That's it, yeah.
That's Jean Claude Van Damme.
Like-
He has these 2 old men helping him out, clear out the village.
Oh yeah, this is his crew.
Yeah.
These two.
What a dream team.
Yeah, these 2 old men. One of them like has to carry around like an air tank with him absolutely everywhere he goes. All right,
Yeah.
I think we gotta mention one more character.
Mhm.
Okay, so as I was saying earlier, the jury is still fully out on whether or not Danny Trejo is playing a nationality that is not his own
Mhm.
nationality. That is something that
Mhm.
I don't know enough about that I can make something damn well sure.
But-
Something I am absolutely 100% sure is the character of Mr. Singh,
Mhm. The Indian owner of the Bombay Cafe.
the East Indian owner.
Which is...
the other type of Indian.
Mhm.
Yes.
You
The one from India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He owns like the biker bar called the Bombay Cafe.
The Bomb
Mhm.
Bay Cafe. Those are
Right.
2 different words.
Mhm. But yeah, it's the sort of like the dangerous, rowdy biker bar.
Yeah, run
John-
by this Indian man in the middle of the desert, this
Mhm.
unspecified town, which no one says the
You know,
name of,
and yet it's surprisingly diverse.
extremely diverse.
It's
Yeah,
got a Japanese gentleman,
Japanese man. They have
Indian-
they should have an
Yeah.
Indian man because this role is played by Vincent Schiavelli, who he was the okay. Did you ever see Ghost?
I have not seen Ghost.
You haven't seen Ghost? Okay,
I recognize his face. He's one of those actors who's in a lot of things.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, so for you at home, he was the subway ghost in the movie Ghost. He was one of the Penguin's crew in Batman Returns. He's in Amadeus. He's one of the people that takes care of Salieri at the beginning. He actually worked with Milos Forman quite a bit. But yeah, 100% Sicilian, not remotely East Indian whatsoever, but he's wearing lawn-flowing robes, and he's doing the voice.
He's doing the Apu voice.
We won't do the Apu voice because that's not appropriate. We will, however, play you what sort of Apu voice that he is doing. This is right here.
God, oh my God! You have just dispatched 3 of my best customers. I am a ruined man. Brother, sir, who is going to pay for all this damage? My new boss. And who might that unfortunate person be?
Yup. Yup.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's in the movie. And him and Eli and Pat Morita sort of become like this
friendship, like this
trio of, like, near the end of the movie.
Lovable oafs kind of guys.
At the climax of the movie,
when all the gangs kind of descend on the town.
These 3 are going around and they're offing people on their own and everything like that. I expected, like, the Three Stooges music to, like... Because they're cracking jokes and they're rifling...
It's very campy. It's very, like, Adam West Batman, the way that these guys are, like...
It's campy, but brutal.
Yes.
It's a weird dichotomy of this because, like, there's a scene where it's all like, "Oh, you knucklehead, that's not the proper bullet," and everything like that.
No, that's a 38. There. No, not the 45. No, that is a suppository.
And they're all like, "All right, put your hands up. Oh, what are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
And then Singh fucking slices a guy open with a fucking giant scimitar that he just has, and you see the guy's guts pouring out of his stomach, and then it's back to wacky hijinks.
It's quite the contrast between
a significant
what a juxtaposition.
contrast.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh wow. So yeah, that's the team. What else is there to mention?
Let's see. Well, with the rival gangs, there was the dad character who's like only in maybe 2 scenes. They so the way that Jean Claude Van Damme sets up the 2 gangs going to war is he kills 2 of the bikers in the Bombay Cafe, and that sends off like some retaliation against.
Well, because he says, because Singh's all like, "Who's gonna pay for this damage?" So like, send the bill to my boss, the leader of the other rival gang.
I forgot about that because the scene immediately after that is where Jean Claude Van Damme bangs the.
Yeah, exactly. It's an easy thing to forget about when you're watching a hardcore sex scene out of nowhere.
So, anyways, the gangs go to the. They have like a little gang war between the 2 of them that Jean Claude Van Damme is at, and the 2 gangs kind of realize that there has been like some misunderstanding. Someone is playing them for a chumps, and it's got to be the guy who owned the motorcycle that they took from the desert.
This is an interesting scene because the 2 gangs are fighting. Well, first of all, so Eddie lays this trap where he makes the one gang think the other gang is out to get them or whatnot. And then the biker gang ambushes the redneck gang on their way back from Vegas. You had a good point. So
they know the enemy redneck guy, the big boss of the red. He has a routine.
Keep forgetting his name.
Hogan.
Hogan and his 3 sons.
The lead Hogan, the Hulk Hogan. He has like a routine where like every Thursday he goes up to Vegas with his gang, but they leave by midnight.
Yeah, exactly. It's all like, yeah, we gotta go kill Hogan. He's not in town. He always goes up to Vegas, but he's usually back around 12 or 1.
Very responsible trip to Vegas.
You're a crime boss, and you're leaving Vegas before 12?
With all your boys? Like, you're not going to hit the town, right?
It's
you're not going to do
the city that never sleeps. What are you doing?
You're not going to do any kind of, like, dirty backroom dealing or anything? No, it's like, we got to get our beauty rest. We got a big day tomorrow.
You're doing Vegas wrong, Hogan, is what you're doing. Yeah.
Vegas on a Thursday.
Oh, man, never go to Vegas on a Thursday. Oh, he goes to, like, the cheapest casino.
Off the strip.
Well, they go, but he goes to Vegas at, like, 5 p.m. When everyone's...
Early bird special.
Yeah, you can see early bird special. He's just the lamest gangster.
Yeah.
He just goes in
It's
for
getting
like
too crowded here.
he goes in for like the show. He goes to like the
For the family.
He goes to like the dollar tables. Yeah. And like his sons are like walking around. It's all like, I think we could be having way more fun than we are, Daddy. Because like, you shut up, you son.
All right, so at the biker lair, they come to the conclusion that they've been set up. Matt Hogan kills Daddy Hogan in a fit of rage. That's when
and this is where Johnny Sixtoes comes back into the thing, and this is where we learn that also okay. So here's the other thing about the first time we ever see Johnny Sixtoes' first scene, he's a ghost / figment of Eddie's imagination.
Yeah.
Second time we see him actually there. So by the third time he sneaks up on Eddie, he's untrustworthy. I don't know if he's there or if he's not there anymore because there's no frame of reference anymore.
There's no logic. There's no rhyme or reason to what's going on here.
This is the moment where we find out, however, that Johnny Sixtoes
kind of an idiot.
might not be the brightest guy because the first thing he says is that these two guys are shooting at each other and they're essentially doing what the plan was to wipe out the rival gang, to wipe out each other.
Yeah.
And it's going good because they've killed the main Hogan and everything like that. Everyone's kind of standing around, and no one's firing at each other yet, but you would assume at some point in time they would start firing. They have no reason not to continue shooting each other. But that's when Johnny's all like, hey, you should give away your position and you should fire at them and you should shoot that exploding barrel over there. And he does, and he completely gives himself away and is all like, hey, there's the guy!
If Johnny Sixtoes is like a figment of his imagination, he's his dark passenger for sure.
And then as soon as Eddie's position is given away, Johnny's plan is to immediately punches Eddie out, steals his hat,
gets on a zipline thing of all things,
starts firing the machine gun, and then everyone's attention is drawn towards Johnny, who immediately gets himself kidnapped, and then Eddie has to save him, which is great because we get to see Jean Claude's amazing coyote impression.
Yeah, he distracts the
which is literally him making the mouth. And then they dub in an actual coyote because it sounds like a stock coyote noise.
Yeah.
He's over there!
But it works. It fools everyone.
It fools everyone. Yeah, that's amazing. Johnny's about to get hung, and all these guys are looking out for Jean Claude. And it's amazing. Literally every time they hear, these guys are the dumbest goons because they're all like, keep your eyes open. He's going to show up here and it's like, hey, shit, is that a coyote? Yeah. It's all like, why would that distract them?
Yeah.
As good as it does.
So, I should say the character, but it's Danny Trejo.
It's Danny Trejo.
So they try to lynch him.
The rope breaks.
The rope breaks. They shoot him.
Did you love how like right before they right before they threw him off the building, he goes, Eddie!
Yeah.
Name your first child after me!
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Hey! Name your first kid after me!
And he's, oh man, yeah, nothing about this character makes sense. Also, right before that happens, he's like, you shouldn't commit suicide, Eddie. You should keep living, anything like that. I got anything else to live for. What about Rhonda, eh? You should marry Rhonda. And so, that's a character that A, he's talked to for 5 minutes, and B, you don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't actually know that they've met. So yeah, they try lynching him, doesn't quite work. They try shooting him, doesn't quite work. Eddie gets him on his motorcycle, takes him back to his hut, and then he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real fighter. So so Johnny Sixtoes is dead.
Yeah. So Rhonda hears of that. She goes to check out Johnny's weird, shitty shack that he lives in. Yeah. Finds Jean Claude Van Damme there. Apparently they hook up.
Yeah, it feels like there's a scene missing. Because we noticed this when we were watching. She goes to Johnny's shack. So Rhonda and Johnny have a history. When she was 10, she got bitten by a rattlesnake, and Johnny nursed her back to health. So I guess Which, I don't know, that's the question of, like, the time frame of this. Like, how long has Johnny lived there? When exactly were Johnny and Eddie in the army? What's the age difference between Eddie and Rhonda? I don't know, because the time frame's all over the place, because, like, at one point we see Pat Morita reading a newspaper. It's from, like, the 30s. So I don't know. Yeah, what's the deal with that?
Talks about the bombing of Osaka, like, on that old newspaper.
He just reads, like, old newspapers that talk about tragic Japanese history and everything like that. Like, he's reading a paper and FDR is on the cover and everything like that. It's all like, that is not a president that most Japanese people have warm thoughts towards. So he's got some. Well, but that's because he's completely psychotic.
Yes.
Yeah, he's an utter psycho. So maybe that's it. Maybe he's just like, it's all like,
national tragedy. I love it. So, we don't see the lovemaking scene, and, like, we have seen, like, lovemaking scenes in this movie before, and they're quite graphic.
Totally, very
So we
graphic.
would have seen it happen, right?
Absolutely. It feels like there's a scene missing.
Yeah. So what we do see is, like, she and JCVD are, like, hugging in tearful hugs over the death of Danny Trejo, and then it cuts to her, like, drying her hair, like she'd just taken a shower. There is no fucking way that shitty shack has a shower.
She's in a bathrobe, too. Like, they're crying because their friend is dead, and then literally the next scene, she's drying her hair and wearing a bathrobe. And this is my theory on this. First of all, you're right. Johnny's shack does not have indoor plumbing. If she took any sort of shower whatsoever, it is a bucket with holes in it.
It's a camp shower.
And she had to get JCVD to pour the water in or whatever. So if they did fuck, that's not a scene we were witness to for some weird reason. But here's my theory as to why there just happens to be a feminine robe already there. I think maybe Johnny and Rhonda had a history.
Probably. She knew exactly.
There's not a lot of eligible men in this town who aren't violent sociopaths. Johnny was nice to her when she was 10. Okay, that's kind of gross. I hadn't thought about that. But it's like, she knows where Johnny's hut is. So it stands to reason that, she left some things there.
Maybe.
She left some things there sometime. You have like a casual hookup. Eventually, maybe you start leaving like a toothbrush there or whatnot. Yeah, that's what I think.
That's a
Yeah.
very reasonable explanation.
Yeah, fair enough. So the conflict in the movie, they put a price on Johnny's head. He's immediately turned in by Vern, who's a character we have not talked about, who is amazing.
He is the line cook at the at the restaurant.
Vern's a bit of a slow burn because at first you think he might be one of the good guys because he's hanging out with like the restaurant people or whatnot.
He's kind of meek. He doesn't really he doesn't like say much really.
But Vern turns.
He takes a hard left.
He turns a hard left. He turns Eddie and for the reward and everything like that. Sometimes I wish we had video because I wish we could. It's really hard to explain this or whatnot.
When he's creeping
creeping like a motherfucker. So there's just like this really simple scene where Eddie is coming back into town and he goes to the hotel where he's rented a room, and then we see Vern at the diner watching him. But he's like
skittering like a crab.
Oh, skittering and there's no reason to whatsoever. Yeah. And he's like skittering around, and he's like peeking over tables, and it shows that Eddie knows that he's there because he turns around and gives him a very suggestive kiss at one point. That's the other thing we gotta talk about.
Crafty Vern.
We gotta talk about the homoeroticism in this movie.
There's a lot of
There's a lot. But and so he like gives him blows him a little kiss, so like, I see you, Vern, and then he goes into the hotel. And then he skitters back to the phone. Who are you hiding from? There's no one around now.
And you would look less suspicious had you just been standing around, just cleaning a counter or whatever.
What annoys me the most about Vern is that if I was auditioning for this movie, that's the role I would end up with. It's the lanky, balding guy who wants to be tough, but turns out to be...
And he's a turncoat.
A turncoat and a coward. They attach... Their big Homelodian plan is they attach grenades to Eli's oxygen tank and then blows up half of the crew in one fell swoop. Pretty bitchin'.
Yeah, it's the best special effect in the movie by a long shot.
There's some good action in this movie.
There is, yeah.
I love the scene at the end where he's fighting, I think his name is Matt. I just found out that this guy's name is Shark.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to call him Shark.
Yeah, so when he and Shark are fighting... You know what the best move of that like big action fight sequence at the end was?
Yeah.
When the snake granny tossed a snake.
Oh yeah, and like he called that a sight. Like we were watching like
She's
this
like-
chaos unfold,
And I was like, why doesn't she just throw a snake at one of them?
she's like we see Snake Granny like staring out a window, and she's like stroking the snake. He's like, "Oh, be patient, Elijah."
Yeah, be patient, my garter snake.
Jameson turns to me and says, "I'm like." She goes throw a snake at him. I'm all like, "You better fucking believe she is. That's why she's Snake Granny. That's
Never
her
seen this movie before in my life, but it's one of those things where like
That's her one
you
move.
you can see it coming, but
Yeah.
like you're really hoping you're right about it. Too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's able to wipe out both of the gangs,
Mhm.
and yeah, everyone, all the bad guys.
The town gets like rejuvenated
Yep.
with like the
because Eddie tells the tabloids
Mhm.
that all of the dead bodies are because of alien abduction,
Mhm.
and this brings
new tourist blood to
new
the town.
tourist blood to the town, and everyone's happy. Pat Morita's wife comes back.
Yeah, she really was just gone for 3 years.
She was just gone for 3 years, and I
Mhm.
guess had no other way of... In 3 years, she couldn't have sent him a letter,
no.
but she's back and instantly pregnant,
Mhm.
which raises a lot of
yeah.
questions.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Watch yourself there, Mr. Early.
Yeah,
Because she's Mrs. Late.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Jameson,
Yeah,
you know what? Podcast over. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to do any better than that.
And Jamie Presley's character falls in love with a bus driver.
Oh yeah, that was set up.
when they mentioned that, like, I'm into samurai movies. They're like Japanese westerns.
There's this one called Yo Jimbo. Have you heard of this movie
Wink,
called
wink, wink,
Yo
wink, wink.
Jimbo?
Wink.
We're a smart movie.
It's an homage.
We're a smart movie.
Respecting
fucking-
your
You're
sources.
fucking doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And then it ends with
Rhonda and
With-
JCVD.
JCVD on the motor. It ends much in the same way it begins, with them riding the motorcycle through the desert, and they look over, and who should be on a motorcycle right next to them?
Mhm.
But smiling Johnny Six Toes
Mhm.
in a Hawaiian shirt and
Big
sunglasses,
thumbs
giving
up.
a big ass thumbs up. We're gonna try and find a way to include a picture of
it'll
that.
be pretty easy.
You gotta see, just like this image, like sums this up perfectly and everything like that. And
when-
what's amazing, Rhonda sees him too.
Yeah, so it's a shared hallucination. When the sad day comes that Danny Trejo leaves this
Yes.
mortal plane,
Which
And-
hopefully will be years from now.
and the Oscars will have their in memoriam sequence.
That's gotta be it.
That has to be his
That has
like
to be-
footage they show of like in loving memory of Danny.
I'm gonna figure out how to do Photoshop. And when that day comes, years and years from now, please don't leave us, Danny Trejo.
No.
You provide so much good to the world. But when that
Whatever
day,
nationality
when that
you're
day
playing.
comes, I'm gonna cobble together a ton of footage of him, and rest assured, that will be the final thing.
Yeah.
That we will pause on, riding an Indian motorcycle,
Don't you
big
forget?
ass thumbs up, Danny Trejo.
Don't you forget about me?
Don't you forget about me.
Yeah.
Oh God, what else do we want to talk about?
What else could we talk about?
Why was Snake Granny in a wheelchair at the end?
Fuck
that
if
was,
I- fuck
that
if
was
I know.
weird. That was another scene that we lost. So okay, yeah. So he's just killed the last bad guy. Everyone is standing around. Okay. Oh, and okay. So what happens is he knocks out Shark. He takes Shark's semi-automatic rifle, takes the clip out,
Mhm.
leaves the gun next to him,
Mhm.
goes over, embraces Rhonda. Surprise! Shark's got another clip right over here.
Mhm.
Clips it in. Rhonda spins around, about to nobly sacrifice
Like, take the bullet
herself.
for-
Take
that
from,
she-
from a semi-automatic rifle. She's gonna be hamburger, and also those are gonna go right through her.
Yeah.
She's not protecting
And you've
shit.
known
They
this
are
guy-
both gonna die.
You've known this guy for like a day.
Yeah. But then he's riddled with bullets
Mhm.
from seemingly every side, and this was
It's the big mystery that
this
leaves
was
you
the,
wondering.
this
at the
was
end
the
of the
moral
movie.
of the movie, is Eddie managed to bring the entire town together, so no one knows who shot him. It could have been Mr. Early. It could have been
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Singh has a gun for
Slung
some
on his
reason.
arm, but
Slung
like
on his
not
arm.
really like.
This is
hand on the
another thing.
trigger.
You know what? This is another still image that we're gonna
I'll
include
find
a
it.
link to, because I want you all to take a look at the expression on Vincent Schiavelli's face at this moment. Like, everyone is, like, arguing. It's like, the way this scene is written is everyone's supposed to be like, I took the shot. No, I took the shot. And Vincent Schiavelli is just standing there. The gun is just draped over his arm. And he has an expression on his face of, what the fuck am I doing? I was in fucking Amadeus, god damn it. What am I doing playing an Indian character when I am not Indian in the middle of the desert? It's not my fault.
In a Jean Claude Van Damme movie with Pat Morita.
My agent told me it was from the director of Rocky. I did not expect this shit to happen. Yeah. And then right at the very end of the scene, he kind of like has like this moment where it dawns on him, was like, "Oh, are we filming? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Good shot, everyone.
Good shot, everybody. Yeah. And then it cuts to everyone smiling and arguing, and then it cuts over to Snake Grandma.
And she's in a wheelchair. She was not in a wheelchair.
She's in a wheelchair, standing there with her husband.
She didn't get hurt at all during the action
sequence.
No,
not at all. And just a random male nurse.
Yeah.
Holding her. Who was that guy?
I don't know, but
I think what happened is the actual actress had like a mild stroke, and it's like the last day of filming or whatever, and it's all like, all right, we need one shot where you're standing and you're looking at Eddie and you're all happy and everything like that, and she's all like, I can do it, and like the male attendant is just like, you cannot move.
You go out there.
You cannot move. You had a serious
die.
Cardiac arrest. Yeah. It's like, it's fine, I'll do it. And then John Alvison's just like, you know what? Just fucking get in the shot. Get in the shot. Hold her hand. I don't care. I literally don't care. This is the last movie I will ever make. I do not care. I hate this.
We have to wheel you out and pump you full of adrenaline.
I hate this. I hate doing this. I hate being here.
We're getting the shot.
We're getting the shot. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that made absolutely no sense. Yeah, gosh. Okay, the very last thing we should probably talk about is we got to cycle all the way back to when Johnny nurses Eddie back to health. And Eddie wakes up in Johnny's shack, and he's like, Johnny, 6 toes. And he looks over.
And who is lying?
And Danny Trejo is sharing a bed with Jean Claude Van Damme, and he's staring at him with a sweet smile on his face.
Like leaning over him, like in a way that I haven't seen outside of like.
And he just goes, "Good morning." And then we had to rewind this because I needed to get it right. He goes, "How did you find me?" And he just taps his nose twice, and then he gets up and he goes over. And he's all like, "That's not an answer to my question," but it's all like, and then he starts sensually giving Jean Claude Van Damme a foot rub.
So, and like by the looks of it, like a pretty decent foot rub.
A really decent
but
foot
also
rub.
a really long foot rub.
Yeah, it was only the one foot. That bothered me.
Yeah.
That bothered me a lot that he was only rubbing that one foot because now that felt very uneven to me. Yeah, that was not good. But yeah, so I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you this question in a second, Jameson. I recommend this movie based alone on the fact that there is a scene where Jean Claude Van Damme gets a foot rub by Danny Trejo.
2 action movie tough guys.
It's a sensual foot rub too.
It is, yeah. I would never in a a million years believe I would have seen something like that in a movie.
2 men enjoying this close body contact.
This one foot getting rubbed.
It's fantastic. Jameson, would you recommend watching this movie?
Yes, I would recommend watching this movie because it's insane, and I don't think anyone believes us when we're talking about in detail what this movie is. I think this movie is a masterclass in overacting.
Oh,
and
without a doubt.
And a total testament to the fact that there are no small parts.
No, not at all. No, every supplemental part from like the short order cook to the guy at the store to any of the thugs to the elderly couple who come into town looking for UFOs.
Yeah.
Everyone is chewing the fucking scenery.
It's the most overacting I've ever seen. Like, it's Van Damme's name on the box, but that's what they had to do to sell it.
Well, I'm going to play one more thing for you. Included in this DVD is a supplemental feature that came on the DVD. It's a little documentary called Jean Claude Van Damme, Looking Back, Moving Forward. Now, this DVD that we got is clear. I got this at a thrift store, but it's clearly part of a bigger
like a box
set of Van Damme
of non-essential Jean Claude Van Damme.
Well,
classics.
are there essential Van Damme classics?
Well, Street Fighter. But these are mentioned, and JCVD. But these are mentioning Double Team and
Maximum Risk.
Yeah,
So in this documentary, it's just clips from the movie, and then it's just like interview footage of Jean Claude Van Damme talking about these movies. And in a lot of them, he has fairly glowing things to say.
So he has some interesting things to say in this little retrospective.
Yeah, right at the very end. He talks about these 4 movies, and right at the very end, Desert Heat is tacked on. This is all Jean-Claude can manage to say about working on this movie.
It's about a guy who has enough of life. It's about life, sex, food, and belief. It's a fable. Yeah.
You can hear the contempt in his voice, and it's about love, food.
Food. I had that line about pie. Yeah.
I think this is I think they must have interviewed him for the DVD. I don't think he can remember anything about making this movie.
No, he's that line about food is a testament to that because
sex. Food. It's about
life.
It's a fable. It's a fable. Could be. I don't remember. What movie are we talking about? Yeah, exactly. Because there was a name change and they heavily recut it. And it is the movie that made an Oscar-winning filmmaker
throw in the towel.
He never directed another movie since then, and he directed Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Rocky is one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite movies.
It's a cinematic classic.
It's one of my favorite movies ever to win Best Picture. It's one of those movies where
spawned a generational franchise.
It was nominated alongside Taxi Driver and Network.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think Rocky deserved to win Best Picture because that's the strength of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
and then we come to Desert Heat.
And then we come to Desert Heat
with Danny Trejo rubbing JCVD's feet.
And that's where it all wrapped. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter because John Avildsen, still a fantastic filmmaker, still has a lot in his... it's a great movie that he directed? Lean on Me. With Morgan Freeman.
Oh, I was thinking of... what's the one with the 4 kids and they find the dead body?
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me. No,
but Lean on Me had the song in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lean on Me is the one where Morgan Freeman plays the principal of the school and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And he puts the chains on the doors and everything.
Yes, and he's like a sort of a hard ass.
He's got that
but he really believes in the kids. Yes, that is a good movie. That's a great movie.
He's got that great scene where the kids are the problem, but that he also calls a staff meeting of all the teachers, and he just screams at the teachers that they're not doing their job right, and it's that's a badass Morgan Freeman impression. Yeah. But anyway,
your Morgan Freeman impression.
Well, if I'm not gonna do my Johnny Six Toes impression, I'm not gonna do my Mr. Singh impression. I'm not gonna do. It's not racist to do a Morgan Freeman impression, right? Maybe it's...
when I fight for Robin Hood.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that's our thing. Maybe this is just my way of saying my Morgan Freeman impression is bad, and I don't want to embarrass myself on the internet. So, in your best Morgan Freeman voice, play us out, Jameson.
You have been listening to The Fuck Is This podcast, starring Kaz Lescott and Jameson Raptor.
Thank you very much.
This is the voice of my Morgan Freeman impression, signing you off.
We'll see you next time. Please join in. Please come back. And share, and subscribe.
Get busy living or get busy dying.
If we're on Twitter by this point, share us on Twitter. If we have a Facebook page, share a Facebook page. If we do things with Instagram, make sure you share with that on that. I really shouldn't have attempted this. I'm in deep. I'm just gonna hit stop.
Kaz?
I'm gonna hit
Kaz! Oh my God, Kaz!
No! This is by far the stupidest outro.
Strongest ending.
Our strongest ending ever.
All right.
We're leaving all of it in.
Good night, Mr. Wayne.
Good night, Mr. Wayne. Batman.